I'm Josh Watt, and today I'm joined by Eddie Hearn. Eddie, first of all, you've got a blockbuster night of boxing coming up in Nottingham this weekend. How does it feel knowing to be back here, and if Lee Wood gets the win, you'll be taking him to the City Ground for an even bigger event?
Yeah, I mean, we've been in here with some unbelievable fights. I mean, obviously Froch against Butte, Conlon against Wood, and this I think will be right up there. You know, it's a very dangerous fight for Lee Wood, but one we're very excited about.
So obviously, you've seen the challenge that Lara can, that he can bring. You've seen what he's done to Josh Warrington. Do you believe there's a way that Lee Wood will overcome the challenges that Josh Warrington couldn't overcome and deal with him the right way?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very dangerous. You know, when you're fighting a guy that has dynamite in both hands, also has a great work rate, he's very tough, relentless as well. But Lee Wood also punches very hard. You know, he can take Mauricio Lara out to head or body in this fight, but he doesn't want to be trading with him. He wants to box smart, and that's very difficult to do against a guy who's as relentless as Mauricio Lara.
And finally, for me, obviously, can you guarantee the City Ground fight next in the summer?
No, don't put that pressure on me, but we'll see. You know, a lot depends on date and obviously cost as well, and you know, we could do that fight at the City Ground at Ellen Road, but doesn't really feel right as Lee as the champion. MEN, split it in half, wherever we can make the most money, but certainly for Lee Wood, you know, he would love to do it at the City Ground.
Eddie, Fury's been speaking to Sport Bible. He said that AJ's dead to him now. Is the fight dead and done, do you feel?
Apparently, if he said that. I mean, I don't know. You know, when we were negotiating that fight, AJ had 3 weeks to sign the fight. They've been negotiating the Usyk fight for 3 months. When we were trying to do the fight on December 18th, we were told we can't do it on December 18th. It has to be November 26th or December 3rd because Usyk is fighting Fury in February. Well, we're now in February. You know, at the end of the day, you can only do so much. We would make that fight now. It's a much bigger fight financially for Tyson Fury, but the undisputed fight is also obviously very important. And if they can make that, good luck to them. If not, we'd be ready to take that fight after Jermaine Franklin.
There was an interview on TalkSport between Simon Jordan and Robert Smith. A lot covered in that interview. One of the main points being that the conduct of the parties involved in the Conor Ben case left a lot to be desired. I just wonder your kind of response to
that. What about the conduct of the British Boxing Board of Control? I mean, basically, TalkSport and the British Boxing Board of Control are getting together to try and find a way where no one asks them a question about the way they acted in this. The British Boxing Board of Control had the results for exactly the same amount of time that we had. Now, Robert will hide behind, we had to look into it, we had to have lawyers, but ultimately, we had to wait on the decision of the British Boxing Board of Control. And they made a decision 3 days before the fight. Contractually, if the British Boxing Board of Control sanctioned that fight, the fight has to take place if both fighters want to progress with that fight. They didn't make a decision for 5 or 6 weeks. They also didn't tell the other fighter. And they'll say, we're waiting on this, waiting on this. The reality is, you knew for as long as us. No one asked them these questions. So they should tread carefully, really, because you know I believe things will come out during this process that might put them in a difficult position. But there's a lot of propaganda. I'm not really willing to get involved with it, other than say we're waiting on the WBC. But one thing you have to understand, which no one keeps asking the board about, is they had all the information for exactly the same period of time as us. They are the governing body. They are the ruling body of boxing who make the decisions in terms of whether they will sanction this fight. And for 5 weeks, they ultimately decided they were going to sanction the fight. Why? Ask them.
Interestingly, Robert denied that him or anyone else on the board leaked the information to the press. The finger point, I suppose, maybe goes back and forth between two. Does it really matter, though, Eddie, who leaked that information?
Not really. I mean, but what, again, people don't keep commenting on this. People say that the fight got cancelled once the story got leaked. The fight was cancelled, ultimately not sanctioned, at about 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. The story came out at 11 o'clock when someone told the newspapers that they weren't going to sanction the fight, and then 2 hours after that they sent out an official statement to the public. I don't really care who leaked the story, I couldn't give a shit. What I want to know is why did the board take 5 or 6 weeks to make a decision that cost us 7 figures, that cost us, you know, a lot of questions and some people question our integrity, when they knew about the test exactly the same amount of time as us, and they are the people that can cancel the fight and not sanction it. They decided to do it 3 days before the fight.
Ed, Robert Smith said that he was going to pull the fight anyway, even though the day before, but he said they was going to pull that before that information got leaked. Do you think that was going to be the case?
They did pull the fight before the information got leaked. Again, this is what you lot, but it's like, it baffles me. The fight got pulled. When we say pulled, they wrote to us to say this fight will not be sanctioned. That was about 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. About 2 hours later, the Daily Mail ran their story. So it's nothing to do with the story, but it was very nice of them to decide not to sanction the fight after waiting 5 weeks and letting us spend £1 million in costs. I wish they would have not sanctioned the fight when they knew about the test result, but they chose not to. But no one wants to answer them.
Do you think Simon Jordan was fair in the questions that he asked Robert Smith?
Oh, very fair, yeah. But imagine, I haven't even listened to it, but I would. I think you just answered your own question.
Are you speaking about what could be next? There's been a lot of criticism around the potential Pacquiao fight could have been made of that.
Massive fight. Whole world will watch. Absolute barnstormer.
Or the criticism itself of seeing Conor in with Manny Pacquiao people.
Oh, is he that good? I don't know.
What?
Conor.
No, more so because Manny Pacquiao's been retired for 2 years.
No, but what you're saying, Conor Benn is this unbelievable. I mean, people were talking about Crawford against Pacquiao, right? Like 6 months ago. So Conor Benn is all of a sudden this unbelievable pound for pound fighter. Not really. You know, according to the same people that are criticising, Conor Benn's never beaten anyone. Conor Benn lost to Cedric Paynard at York Hall a couple of years ago, but apparently he's on another level to Manny Pacquiao. Either way, look, I'm telling you now, that fight, by the way, that fight's not even close. There's been conversations with Roti. If that fight gets made, that's massive, massive. I'm not even sure it will, but there has been discussion.
Spoke to Bob Arum yesterday and obviously mentioned the Fury Joshua stuff. He's adamant that it will be Fury Usyk next, and he's completely dismissed any chance of Fury Joshua taking place.
It's fine. I think for boxing, I hope the undisputed fight gets made. All I said was, if it doesn't, we would be willing to make the AJ fight now. And it's a much bigger fight for Tyson Fury than the Usyk fight, financially, and I think for British boxing.
Just one more from me. Lee Wood, is there a rematch clause in place?
Yes, there is. Yeah, it's a voluntary defence.
Eddie, you were over in Dublin there recently. How was things with Conor Mack, first of all?
Absolutely mental. Yeah, it was mental. It was, I was in awe of him. I don't mind saying it. He's a massive star. He's a great personality, great energy, great business mind as well. Obviously, a big supporter of Katie Taylor. Wants to help Katie Taylor as well at the same time. And we'll see what happens. I think the May fight will be in the 3 Arena. We're working towards the Croke Park fight in September, and we'll see what happens.
I remember speaking to you in Liverpool a couple of years ago. Did you ever look at Cork as an alternative? Look, Collins, Eubank, Perky, Queed, was that ever a mention?
My dad promoted the fight at Mill Street. I was there.
Yeah.
I think I was 15. I remember sitting there, blowing air into the mist everywhere. It was a wild night. Unfortunately, Eubank lost that night. But we looked at Cork, but also there's a problem with the seating. You know, there's a lot of standing in the arena that we looked at in Cork, and again, additional cost of bringing in additional seating. So I just think this time around it's more a timing issue, where we just don't want to miss out on the opportunity to bring Katie Taylor to Ireland. So 3 Arena most likely.
And all going well. Look, Gary Cuddy comes through this weekend. He's going to co-main event that Dublin show.
Yeah, big fight. You know, we talked about Maxi Hughes. We like the Angel Fierro fight. I like Jorge Linares. This is a big fight for Gary on Saturday, but if he comes through, he'll be in a big fight on May the 20th.
Thank you, Eddie.
Eddie, the site fee for AJ Usyk was 65 million.
Was it?
Allegedly, according to the Sun newspaper.
Yeah. It wasn't, but anyway.
What do you think the fee should be for Fury Usyk?
I mean, I think did someone report that Tyson Fury wants 100 million for that fight or something like that? I have no idea. I mean, obviously the fight between Fury and Usyk is a bigger fight because of it being undisputed than AJ against Usyk, but I don't know about negotiations. I think the bigger problem, which I said earlier in the week, is if I'm Tyson Fury, I want a lot more money than Alexander Usyk, because commercially I'm a lot more valuable in a fight. But sometimes if you want that fight so badly and you want to be undisputed, you have to basically accept 50-50, because Usyk is a man of principle and he won't take the fight unless it's 50-50. But I have no idea. Like, I'm just literally talking to you like you talk to each other, just as a fan. I don't see the fight happening at Wembley, because if Fury did want 100 million, he ain't going to get nowhere near that fighting at Wembley. I hope it does happen at Wembley. It'd be great. No idea.
If the WBC put the winner of Jake Paul and Fury top 40, does that discredit the WBC?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot different. Obviously, a lot of the questions last night to me were about them going in the top 15, which would be a total farce. You know, going in the top 40, not so much of a farce. I mean, there are fighters in there that are 9-0, 10-0, and how many Tommy Fury had? I mean, he's never beaten anyone, but is he 7-0, 8-0? I don't know. But I think we live in a world where commercially, for the WBC, it might be fruitful for them in terms of publicity to put someone in a world rankings. Down at number 38, does it really matter? Like, it shouldn't be happening. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see fighters going the top 15 who could get a world title shot, or someone could lose the opportunity of a world title shot because Jake Paul has entered the rankings at number 13. That would be bad for the sport. But when now they're talking about top 40, like, I think it's not irrelevant, but certainly not as much of an issue as that top 15.